Ladies and gentlemen, may we have your attention please? The program will start in. We kindly invite all distinguished guests and participants to proceed into the registration process. Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, before we begin, here is for important reminders as housekeeping notes. This event is recorded and live streamed. A group photo will be taken after the opening ceremony, so please stay in the room until then. For on-site participants, please switch your mobile phone to silent mode and remain seated during the session. For online participants, please keep your microphone muted and send your question through the chat box or use the raise hand features during the Q&A session. Thank you for your kind cooperation. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, let us thank God Almighty for His blessings and for allowing us to gather here today in a good health and spirit. Welcome to the Republic of Korea-Indonesia Cooperation Forum with the theme Strengthening Strategic and Cultural Partnerships. Today, Tuesday, 11 November 2025, we are gathered here at the Park Hyatt Hotel, Jakarta, to celebrate and strengthen the long-standing friendship between the Republic of Korea and Indonesia. I'm Mulyani, and I'm deeply honored to serve as your Master of Ceremony for today's event. Ladies and gentlemen, for your information, let's share a brief introduction about this event. This forum is jointly organized by the Embassy of the Republic of Korea and Indonesia. The Republic of Korea to Jakarta and the Research Center for Politics, National Research and Innovation Agency, BRIN. And today's discussion serves as a platform for both nations to enhance strategic dialogue and collaboration on political and economic issues. In this occasion, we are honored to welcome His Excellency Sir the Affairs of the Embassy of Republic of Korea to Indonesia, Mr. Park Soo-tuk. The Honorable Head of Research Center for Politics, National Research and Innovation Agency, BRIN, Dr. Atikah Nur Alami. Executive Director of the ASEAN Institute for Peace and Reconciliation, Bapak I Gusti Agung Wesaka Puja. Head of Research Center for Law, Dr. Nawawi SEMA. Distinguished speakers, Dr. Koo Yong-kyo, Dr. Sandiaga Salahuddin Uno, Mr. Tae-ho, Dr. Irin Hiraswari Gayatri PhD. And also we recognize the representative of ministries, embassies, think tank, academics, college, and researchers from the Research Center for Politics, BRIN. And of course, all participants joining us both on-site and online. Ladies and gentlemen, to officially commence today's program, we are honored to invite our first speaker. Please welcome His Excellency Mr. Park Soo-tuk, Charles the Away of the Embassy of the Republic of Korea to Indonesia to deliver his welcome remarks. Please be warm.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Shalom, salam sejahtera bagi kita semua. Om Swastiastu, Namo Buddhaya, salam kebajikan. Saya Wakil Duta Besar Korea Selatan untuk Indonesia. Saya sudah tinggal di Indonesia lebih dari 2,5 tahun, tapi saya belum bisa bicara bahasa Indonesia dengan lancar. Izinkan saya bicara dengan bahasa Inggris. Dr. Atikah Nur Alami, Head of Research Center for Politics of Brain, Dr. Ko Young-kyung, Research Professor of Yonsei University of Korea. Thank you for coming all the way from Korea. Dr. Irin Gayatri, Senior Researcher of Research Center for Politics of Brain. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, selamat pagi, 안녕하세요. Thank you so much for joining us today. It is my great pleasure to welcome you all to the Indonesia-Korea Cooperation Forum with the title of Strengthening Strategic and Cultural Partnership. Today, we gather not only to discuss policy and cooperation, but to celebrate a remarkable story, a story of two nations that continue to grow together in friendship, trust, and shared aspirations through cultural exchanges. Over the past decades, Indonesia and Korea have forged a partnership that spans trade, investment, education, and increasingly culture. Our collaboration is no longer defined solely by numbers on a trade balance sheet. It is defined by people, by the curiosity, creativity, and cultural connection that Indonesians and Koreans feel toward each other. Many people say that diplomacy begins with culture, and perhaps nowadays no better example exists than Hallyu, the Korean wave. From K-pop to K-dramas, food, and even Korean language classes, the enthusiasm in Indonesia is overwhelming and demonstrating a strong, widespread, and growing cultural connection between the two nations. Actually, Indonesia is one of the world's most vibrant centers for Korean culture. But what is equally inspiring is that this cultural connection has become a new driver of economic opportunity. Every year, the number of Indonesian tourists visiting Korea continues to increase, and last year it surpassed 350,000, the highest since the COVID-19 pandemic. Quite an She's gaining remarkable popularity in Korea these days. The Korean president, His Excellency Mr. Lee Jae-myung, who assumed office last June, introduced K-initiative during the presidential campaign. The initiative aims to elevate Korea as a soft power champion, not only through K-culture, but also through our own values, such as K-democracy and K-technology. In this sense, Indonesia stands as Korea's top priority partner, especially realizing the goals of the K initiative. At the same time, Indonesia's warm affection for Korea has inspired a growing interest in Indonesian culture in Korea. Indonesian cuisine, tourism destinations, and creative industries are gaining significant popularity among Koreans. It is no longer a one-way flow. It is becoming a mutual cultural aspiration, appreciation. We can combine K initiative with I initiative, K wave with I wave, strengthening strategic and cultural partnership between Indonesia and Korea. One of the missions in Astachita is improving the quality of human resources, including strengthening national culture and creative economies. Tanantara, Indonesian state-owned investment management institution, is pursuing strategic collaboration with Korean companies in the media and entertainment industry. Hopefully, with the experiences and know-how of Korea, we can make a joint project of globalizing iPop, iMusic, iMovie, and iDrama in the near future. As you know, His Excellency President Prabowo Subianto recently visited Korea to participate in APEC Summit. 10 days ago, in Gyeongju, Korea, he had a bilateral meeting for the first time with his counterpart, Korean counterpart, President Lee Jae-myung. They discussed and agreed on the positive economic and social impact of the cultural and creative industries. The two leaders agreed to cooperate and collaborate to boost together the cultural and creative industries, positioning Indonesia and Korea as a new cultural and economic growth engines for the Asia-Pacific region and the world. Ladies and gentlemen, our goal is simple: to turn cultural connection into strategic and long-lasting cooperation of our two countries. I'm sure that Korean people are the best partners for achieving this important mission with Masyarakat Indonesia. I look forward to a productive and inspiring discussion in this meaningful forum today. Thank you again for joining us. Terima kasih. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Om Shanti Shanti Om. Peace be with you. Thank you.
Thank you very much to Mr. Park for your warm and inspiring remarks. Finally, we are delighted to invite Dr. Atikah Nur Alami, Head of Research Center for Politics, National Research and Innovation Agency, BRIN, to deliver her congratulatory remarks. To Dr. Atikah, the floor is yours.
Okay, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, everyone. Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests and speaker, Mr. Park Sodek, Charge Affairs Republic of Korea to Indonesia, and then Dr. Sandiaga Salahuddin Uno, Indonesian Minister of Tourism and Creative Economy 2020-2024. Hopefully, he will join soon. And then Dr. Ko Yang Kyung from Yonsei University, and also Mr. Tae-ho, Political Section Chief of the Embassy of the Republic of Korea in Indonesia, and also Dr. Irin Hiraswari Gayatri, our senior researcher at the Research Center for Politics BRIN, and also, of course, our moderators for today's session, Dr. Indana Kartini, and also Hanisa, and our esteemed colleague from BRIN and other academic institutions, and also our collaborating partner, the Korean Embassy in Jakarta. Actually, it's truly a pleasure to welcome all of you in the Republic of Korea and Indonesia Strategic Cooperation Forum, strengthening strategic and cultural partnership. And on behalf of the National Research and Innovation Agency, or BRIN, I would like to extend our warmest greetings and sincere appreciation for your presence here today. And allow me just have a brief introduction to our institution. There is a Center for Politics at BRIN dedicated to advancing research and dialogue on political development, governance, international relations, and strategic policy issues, both at the national and global levels. And as part of Indonesia's National Research and Innovation Agency, our center works to bridge knowledge and policy, fostering evidence-based insight that can strengthen Indonesia's engagement with international partners, including the Korean embassy in Jakarta. And hosting this forum actually reflects our commitment to deepening understanding, trust, and cooperation between Indonesia and the Republic of Korea. And this forum, I think I agree with Dr. Park that it comes at an important moment of our bilateral relation between Indonesia and Korea. We share a long-standing friendship, evolving from traditional ties into a more strategic partnership. First, maybe politically, both countries, Indonesia and Korea, we share common values and aspiration. We support regional peace, stability, and an inclusive rule-based order through ASEAN and other international platforms. And economically, our partnership is rich with opportunity. The Indonesia-Korea Comprehensive Economic Partnership Agreement has laid a strong foundation to expand trade, investment, and joint research, probably that benefits both nations. And of course, I think we cannot speak of our relation without without speaking or without mentioning Hallyu, the Korean wave, the rise of K-pop, films, and Korean cuisine has created a vibrant cultural bridge between our societies. And at the same time, as Mr. Park also mentioned, that there has been a growing interest among Korean society on Indonesian culture. And hopefully it shows there is an exchange of flows both ways and enriching both our people. And this dynamic interaction politically, economically, and culturally remind us that diplomacy today extend beyond government. Yeah, so we part of the government, but also we play a role as a diplomats also. And through BRIN, we believe that through collaboration in research innovation, there will be an exchange and also people to people exchange and cultural exchange. And at BRIN, we see the research cooperation as a vital bridge connecting science and society and policy and people. And maybe I just want to share my personal experiences, just a more personal note. I and other colleague from BRIN, Prof. Dari and Mario, we had the opportunity to visit Seoul in 2022 and to conduct a field work. And it was a truly memorable experiences. We took Korean Air from Jakarta to Seoul. And when I watched the safety video in the flight, it featured a K-pop Super M demonstrated a very interesting in-flight safety messaging, how to use the seat belt and that kind of things. And I think it's quite unique safety video, and it shows that the Korean Air tried to combine safety messaging with entertainment and culture by drawing on the popularity of the K-pop and Korean culture. And I think the video is so powerful. It reinforced the image of Korea internationally, not just a place to travel, but also a modern cultural hub. And also we had a chance to visit Gyeongbokgung Palace. I think it's very most visited tourist attraction. That is located in the heart of Seoul. I can see that the palace show how history and heritage seems to blend alongside the skyscrapers near the palace. And Korea tried to combine tradition and modernity, and how historic palace and temples standing alongside the center of innovation and technology. However, I think I have to be honest to say that during my time there, finding halal food in Seoul is was very challenging. Most of the halal certified restaurants are clustering in Itaewon, or especially around the Seoul Central Mosque. So I'm just thinking that probably developing, kind of halal tourism can be another opportunity for the Korean government, so it can attract more Muslim travelers, including from Indonesia. And these experiences, I think, gave me a deeper understanding of the values that drive Korea's success and how much Indonesia can learn from and contribute to this partnership through mutual respect and shared growth. Anyway, I think as we begin today's discussion, I invite all of you to reflect on how this partnership can continue to evolve and to be strengthened, and let this forum be a space where knowledge inspires collaboration and collaboration deepens our friendship. Yeah. Okay. Once again, thank you very much for being here. Thank you also the organizing committee, the Korean Embassy, for preparing this seminar. Terima kasih, kamsahamnida, and wishing you a fruitful and inspiring discussion ahead. Thank you. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you very much to Dr. Atika for inspiring remarks and kind support for our collaboration. We kindly ask Dr. Atika to remain on the stage. As we will now continue with the awarding session and group photo session. We kindly invite all our speakers and also the representatives of the affairs of the Embassy of Republic of Korea to Indonesia, Mr. Park Soo-duk, to come forward. And then Dr. Koo Yong-kyu from Yonsei University, please come forward. And Mr. Tae-ho, Dr. Irin, and also our lovely moderator, Dr. Indriana, Miss Hanisa, to present the plaque of appreciation. We invite Dr. Atika to remain on the center and give the plaque to the speakers. Yeah, we will take a picture first, then we will give the plaque of appreciation. Yes, we use another pose. 1, 2, 3. Now, the plaque of appreciation, Miss, will be presented by Dr. Atika to all the speakers and moderators. The first appreciation goes to Mr. Park Soo-duk. Thank you. And the second to Dr. Koo Yong-kyu from Yonsei University. Thank you very much. And the next to Mr. Tae-ho, Political Section Chief, Embassy of the Republic of Korea. Thank you very much. And the last but not least, to our speaker, Dr. Irin, Senior Researcher from Research Center for Politics, BRIN. Terima kasih banyak, Dr. Irin. Yes, we will once more a group photo with the plaque of appreciations. Please give a round of applause. Thank you very much. Please be seated as we now proceed to the first round table session. Ladies and gentlemen, we will now begin. I'm sorry. We will now begin with the first roundtable session entitled The Korean Wave Impact, Economic Opportunities in Indonesia, South Korean Partnerships. The session will be moderated by Mrs. Khanisa, researcher at the Research Center for Politics, National Research and Innovation Agency, BRIN. She earned her bachelor degree in International Relations from Gajah Mada University and completed her Master of Art in International Relations and Master of Diplomacy from the Australia National University. Now please welcome Ms. Sasa. The floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Ms. MC. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Selamat pagi. Good morning, dear sir and madams. As introduced by the MC, my name is Kanisa, and I will be the moderator for this first session as we discuss the Korean Wave value impact regarding economics, opportunities in Indonesia and South Korea partnership. First of all, I would like to call Dr. Ko to join me at the stage. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
May I start?
Sure.
You want to introduce me? Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Before we begin the discussion, allow me to inform that this session will last for 1 hour, and each speaker will have 10 minutes to present, followed by the discussion period. And allow me to introduce, without further ado, Dr. Ko Young Kyung. Thank you very much. She's a researcher, a professor of digital trade at the Graduate School of International Studies, Yonsei University. She earned her PhD in finance from the Graduate School of Business at Korea University with the dissertation titled Payout and Financing Behavior of Korean Firms. She's very active in the academic community and has authored numerous works on strategic issues related to economic growth of Korea and Southeast Asia. In 2023, she received recognition award from the Ministry of Trade, Industry, and Energy of the Republic of Korea. Dr. Ko, time is yours.
Okay, thank you for a great introduction. Yeah, good morning, everyone. I really appreciate for having me here. It's a great honor, and I would like to talk about something, some cultural aspect between two countries. So. You can see my name is Dr. Ko Young, but Young is hard to pronounce. So almost my friends call me just young, never get old. Okay, always young, forever young. Yeah, I'm a research professor, but I also emphasize my another small job is a non-executive member of Busan International Film Festival. So it's the largest film festival in Asia. So I attended opening ceremony and closing ceremony this year and last year. So I met all the beautiful K stars. Yeah. Okay, right. Let me start with some Korean aspect, cultural aspect, but there is some misunderstanding. Hallyu is a Korean wave. I think it's about the BTS or Netflix dramas. Is it right? Yeah, you watch it, all the Korean dramas, K-pop music. But what I have researched is this. Culture has become an economic engine, not just entertainment industry revenue itself. I mean, it's driving entire industrial ecosystem too. So here, what matters for this room is not just about Korea exporting culture to Indonesia. It's not a way, okay? It's about building something together. Okay, next page. Yeah. Let me ask you, have you watched this movie? Exir, yeah? It's a zombie movie, you know, like that, yeah. This Indonesia film, yeah. You see the genre, yeah. It's a visual language. It's similar to Korean zombie movie, like a Train to Busan and other things. So Indonesia make a great zombie movie film too. This shows we are creating some kind of shared culture, language, or cultural code. So new global genre, like a jazz or hip hop, we never say about American music or American genre, but Korean, it's a K-wave also, it's become a genre. Okay, so they become a global. That's what's happening now. And it's, if we understand that we could build real economic partnership. Okay, so go on to the next page. Let me show this graph. So what's happening globally? So globalization, yeah, it hurt. It got damaged right now, but it doesn't end. It evolved. So good trade is a little declining, but service trade it's exploding. So service went from 19% to 24% of global trade. And what about Korea? Korea is the fastest growing country in knowledge-intensive service among major economies. So 13% annual growth rate. So this share jumped from 7.6% to 26.5%. Why? What is the driving force? It's a Korea combined manufacturing and knowledge together, like a Samsung or Hynix or some Korean global companies. They not only manufacture the product itself, they also develop some software or related part. But what about the second reason? Second reason, that's the Hallyu, Korean wave. Okay, so it's a Hallyu, not just a drama or a K-pop concert. Let me show the real numbers. Go on to the next page. So Hallyu, yeah, that's not only entertainment sector. Look at the actual economies in 2024. $15 billion in export and 175,000 jobs created in Hallyu-related industry. So, but in real number, gaming, it's actually the biggest part of the related the culture industry. So 62%, and the music and drama like that. So, but real story is spillover, spread out. So when people watch K-drama, then buy Korean cosmetic, like a K-beauty, and they eat some Korean food, it's all related. So their growth rate is a bit higher. So so all the audience or viewers want Korean food too. So they also visit Korea. Nowadays, a large number of foreign tourists came to Korea. So culture create demand. That demand fuel entire industries. So, and also digital make this spread globally and instantly. Go on to the next page. Let's quick look at the history, because this kind of a context matters. The Hallyu started in the late 90s with a boys band, and Winter Sonata. Have you ever watched the Winter Sonata? Long time ago, Yeah. A generation ago, yeah. Maybe your kids, they never know, right? Yeah. So this Winter Sonata hitting Asia is a boom. Yeah. That was generation 1. Okay. Then YouTube came, Big Bang, Girls' Generation. So this generation 2 spread beyond Asia, started out of Asia. And the third generation, BTS, Blackpink, and Parasite. The movie Parasite winning Oscar in 2020, but 2019 was published. Okay, the Western countries finally paid attention to normal Korean music, drama, films. Yeah. Now we are in generation 4. It's a Netflix era, TikTok era. Okay, so the distribution is completely on digital. The fandom is global from day one. Okay, but here is my point. Hallyu is not longer just a wave from Korea to Indonesia, from Korea to all over the world. It's like a jazz or hip hop like that. So that's where we are now. So go on to the next page. Now let's talk about some specifically about the 15 and K-food up 16%. But you know what's interesting? It's not just one way, okay? If you go to convenience store in Korea, you can see Indomie, Kopiko candy everywhere. Yeah, every Korean drama you can see. They, suddenly they take some candy, Kopiko candy. Yeah, coffee candy. It's I don't know why, but they really love coffee candy, right? Like that. So Indonesian food culture is a very huge now in Korea. So Bali is one of the top destinations for 1 month stay for Korean girls. They would like to do some yoga and surfing, yeah, like that. So there are Korean language sign in Ubud everywhere now. So Indonesian students also in Korean university, even in my class, the 2 Indonesian graduate students, one girl had the working experience for POSCO, yeah, in Indonesia. So Indonesia film on Netflix like that, yeah, Korean viewers are watching your movies too. So this is a cultural affinity, intimacy, okay? There's a mutual understanding and create a mutual opportunity. Indonesia is not just a market, okay? Indonesia is a partner, can be partner, might be partner in creating the new global cultural ecosystem in our world. So that's what I think is timing right for real economic cooperation and partnership in cultural sector. Okay, go on to the next page. Okay, have you watched see that kinds of a webtoon? Very old-fashioned, yeah. So digital changed everything nowadays. 10 years ago, quality CG cost billion dollars, billion Indonesian rupiah. But now AI dropped this cost so much, and then also changed the infrastructure. So let's think about the infrastructure of Webtoon, Naver Webtoon. They have a global network, 170 billion users, 150 countries. You can watch it Webtoon everywhere. What about Indonesia? 18 million Indonesia creator, working. And then the viewers. And then Kairu Nisa is the best example. One secret garden. Yeah. So platform exists. Cycle is working. Local creators, Korean platform, and global audience we have now. So how do we scale this kind of thing, cooperation systematically? That's the importance. So I would like to suggest 4 different types of model for partnership. Go on to the next page. So, model 1 is IP development, okay, intellectual property, IP development and global distribution. When I mentioned it's the Naver Webtoon and Kakao infrastructure, platform helps your production. So, Indonesian creator, Indonesian local story, and Korean platform and marketing, and then we can share those kind of partnership model and ecosystem. And another model is a digital content and production ecosystem. As I mentioned, AI changed everything. AI-based graphic and visual effect cost dropped like 90% now. So if you want the animation or film, the cost dropped so much. So for example, like Vietnam's case, Vietnam's studio started by doing outsourcing for Korea animation. So now they are developing their own IP. So what about Indonesia? Also, Indonesia has their own IP, but AI and Korean platform, Korean technology will help you. That's the partnership. Okay, number 3 is model 3, culture-driven related industry expansion. So I mentioned it, those kind of Korean culture, Korea watch, Indonesian content, visit Bali, and then that's not all. Instead of just importing, we can do transfer Korean beauty technology or Korean film technology to Indonesia. Yeah. So we can create manufacturing job, packaging industry, or logistics, or marketing agencies. We can develop those kind of all culture-related industry. That's another model. So digital part probably accelerated this kind of a model. So it's not a one way, it's a 2 ways. Okay. For model 4, it's a more important. It's regarding investment and talent ecosystem. So nowadays, the Korean government initiated more investment in content industry. So not only for Korean company too, we can propel the all other different types of creator. So why don't you make a use, leverage this kind of investment system and ecosystem in Korea? Korea provides just a platform. We need a more diverse source and talent. And then we have a very good art school and system. So we also, Korean governments also provide a lot of different types of scholarship. If you find a chance, you grab the chance. That's the number 4 is the model. So we needed to develop some digital governance and IP protection and data securities. So joint standard we can develop and we co-produce, we can get an all global audience. This is not just glamorous. It's a necessary infrastructure for everything as to work. Okay, that's 4 model I introduced. Okay, Hallyu is becoming a global genre. Indonesia can be a co-creator and infrastructure exists and the cultural affinity, it's real. So culture is the economic engine. Question is how to leverage it together to the global market. Okay, so now I better stop now. Yeah. Okay, thank you very much. And if you have any further question after that, and I will get it to the answer. Thank you for your listening.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Dr. Ko, for an excellent presentation. I believe this exploration will lead us to a productive discussion later on. Moving on to our second speaker, we welcome Dr. Sandiaga Salahuddin Uno to the stage. Okay, allow me to introduce you, sir. Although we don't need any introduction. anymore. But let me read this short bio. Dr. Sandiaga served as Indonesia's Minister of Tourism and Creative Economy from 2020 to 2024. He earned his PhD in 2020 from Pelita Al Harapan University's doctoral program in management with magna cum laude honors. He's a business professional, entrepreneur, politician, and an inspiring figure who frequently shares his perspective through his social media platform, including his Instagram account, which has 9 million followers. Dr. Sandiaga, time is yours.
Thank you very much. Annyeonghaseyo. Good morning, selamat pagi, bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Salam sejahtera bagi kita semua. Shalom, Om Swastiastu, Namo Buddhaya, salam kebajikan Rahayu. His Excellency, Mr. Park, charged the affairs of the Republic of Korea to Indonesia, Ibu Dr. Atikoh, terima kasih atas undangannya. Juga Ibu Irin, terima kasih WA-nya yang selalu mengingatkan saya seperti minum obat. Her WhatsApp to me, it's like taking daily medicines 3 times a day to remind for this event. So, Excellency, Mr. Park said, thank you very much. We should thank Ibu Irene for the hard work. Also, I would like to welcome Dr. Ko. Thank you very much for that very inspiring presentations. I would like also to acknowledge the Executive Director of ASEAN IPR, Pak I Gusti Agung Wesaka Puja, Om Swastiastu, and Dr. Nawawi, Head of Research Center for Law. Today, we're not only talking about diplomacy between governments, between Indonesia and Korea. I was part of government for a good number of 10 years. I ended the tenure last year, but I believe now we are embarking on what we call a P2P partnership or people-to-people partnership. That's why I'm still very eager to come to this event to support BRIN and also our friendship. And we believe that Indonesia and the Republic of Korea have shared more than 50 years of friendships and cooperations. I recall my memory of interning into a Korean garment factory when I was still in high school. And I still remember the late president director of the group, Pak Aziz, who's actually partnering a certain Mr. Ming. And we learned at that time, still in the 80s, Korea and Indonesia is almost the same level because I think in the 60s, because of the war, we both suffered. And in the 80s, we were reaching Asian tigers. I remember at that time, just when we had the Asian financial crisis, then the trajectory changed. But I believe that what Korea has achieved in the last 50 years of friendship with Indonesia will accelerate our friendship and cooperations. And I believe the next 50 years, it's time for us to move up to the next level. Do you all agree? I don't see any enthusiasm. Do you all agree? We need to move to the next level. So from friendship and cooperations to being partners, from trading to investments, partners in economic and also to cultural transformations. This morning, I have a briefing from somebody senior from Washington, And they said there are now only two superpower in the world, which is one defined as military superpower, but the second being defined as cultural superpower. And I believe Korea and Indonesia are in the same brackets to be the cultural superpowers. The witness, and basically, I witnessed the Blackpink concert not too long ago, which caused a lot of traffic jam. But it is part of the Korean wave, or the Hallyu, as Dr. Ko is saying, a soft power and the economic driver. Its values, I was researching this morning, now surpass more than $12 billion annually. The latest example is the K-pop and Netflix collaborations through the animated film K-pop Demon Hunters, which went crazy and went viral all over the world, in particular in Indonesia, whose soundtrack has gone viral, even memorized by kids, by children across the world, including Indonesia. But if you see the impact of Hallyu in Indonesia, though it's undeniable, it also created what we call this P2P partnership, whereby we see a surge of Indonesian tourists going to Korea. We hope it is also going to be vice versa. The rise of K-beauty products that makes you glowing like Dr. Ko. The rise of creative content collaborations, such as the Korean dramas and also the K-pop concerts in Jakarta. If you want to make money in the music events organizing, you can take a risk with bands in Indonesia or all over the world. But if you bring brands from Korea, your risk suddenly minimize because you already have a fan space here. This proves that culture can be an economic catalyst. Don't forget, creating good quality jobs, business opportunities, and cross-border collaborations, and not just simply entertainment. From K-pop to K-economy, we've seen the trajectory. I was part of President SBY trip to Seoul when I was chairman of the Indonesian Young Entrepreneurs Associations around 20 years ago, where we see how Korean government actually created a sandbox approach to promote this wave, this Korean wave. And I believe we could adopt the same principle. Different cultures, all with different costumes. We love ghosts so much that even each professions have its type of ghost. For instance, nurse, we call it susteraba. Guess what? There is a ghost for nurse professions. We also have been able to create the horror movie from Abadi Nanjaya, but also not horror movie, animated movie like Jumbo, which was watched by more than 11 million Indonesians. So the power of partnership could grow more. And I think the 50 years of Indonesia and Korea from cultural exchange to co-creations is really undeniable. From music, you have Blackpink, you have K-pop, but we also have what kind of music? Dangdut Koplo, that's correct. Our Dangdut is a version of Indonesian's Indian, Malay, and I think some pop music have created a wave also within our region, but all the way to Turkey and other parts of the world. So much so that this Dangdut music is now being used as a relaxing music for some of the festivals overseas. And as what our Dangdut legends always say, everybody would love Dangdut. Because if they don't love Dangdut, it is sungguh terlalu. Everybody loves Dangdut. If they don't like Dangdut, it's just too much. So moving forward, I would like to call for actions, and we should encourage initiatives like my old portfolio. I think we could learn from co-branding tourism campaigns. For example, Visit Korea, that is so successful, but we could couple it with Wonderful Indonesia, which is a tag of Indonesian tourism. And cultural diplomacy for inclusive growth means that cultural diplomacy is not only about promotions, but it's about empowerment, enabling collaborations, and shared prosperity. We know the success of Hallyu has proven that content, I underline content, is diplomacy. So Indonesia has similar potential through its films, batik, wayang, which is shadow puppetry, culinary heritage. Everybody loves nasi goreng and rendang. I hosted Maher Zain, one of the legend of the world music, last night, and he asked specifically for rendang because he learned from CNN that the best food from Indonesia is rendang from West Sumatra. But we also have culinary heritage other than rendang, like nasi goreng, gado-gado, pretty much how the Hallyu also produce bulgogi, bulkalbi. So much so, Mr. Park, that around my area in South Jakarta, and we have data to support this, is the highest density of Korean restaurant outside Seoul. Senopati and Walter Monginsidi. We calculated 45 Korean restaurants in very small space. I own one of them. So today, my call to actions. I know we wear shoes every day, correct? I'm wearing shoes from Central Sulawesi, from Palu. I'll show you. So we could create similar collaborations because I think there is some Korean brand in the past called Pony and other brands, but not really known here. But we love your other stuff. But if we could collaborate the shoes, because there are other brands, I don't want to promote and basically mention the other brands, but if we could create something Korea and Indonesia culturally, and we make it here, because going back to Mr. Ming, which is the business was garment and shoemaking, I believe we could produce something that could be a model for soft power, and we could use every day, like shoes, and we could work hand in hand because creativity connects us and collaborations empower us. And I believe partnership will prosper every one of us. The other thing that I would like to mention as a closing is we need to collaborate on pantun, which is the Indonesian sort of like poem. Because I try to ask AI, artificial intelligence, this morning to create an Indonesian and Korea pantun. AI could not solve it. AI is so bad at creativity. So I went back to my old self and create this pantun for you. I'm sorry this is in Bahasa, but Ibu Atika and Ibu Irene will provide translations. Dari Seoul datang sinar cahaya. Menyapa Jakarta penuh harmoni. Budaya bersatu, ekonomi berjaya. Indonesia Korea kolaborasi masa kini. Thank you very much. Kamsahamnida. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you very much, Dr. Sandiaga, for an excellent perspective on how both countries can optimize our economic opportunities. Probably we can introduce Korea to the new icon that is King Nasar, because one of the most recent phenomenon is the youth saying it's better to go to concert of King Nasar than to the psychiatrist for our health problem. So before we enter the Q&A session, allow me to use my moderator privilege to ask two questions. First of all, to Dr. Ko. We talk about how Hallyu can become a model for public diplomacy and how do you see it utilized in the future? And the second one, following that question, also following your presentation, what will be the obstacle then for Korean-Indonesia collaboration in pursuing this cultural cooperation for further future? Thank you very much.
Is what? Yeah. The very big question, then probably the second session, we will deal with, the public diplomacy. But basically, there is some misunderstanding regarding Hallyu and Korean government relations, because many people think Korean government support Korean wave. And then it's not only just apparently and substantially try to drive the Korean entertainment industry to be global by some funding and other things, but half right, yeah, partially wrong, because the Korean government make a use of bottom up situation. Actually, who made it BTS? Government? No. Who made the Parasite? No, not at all. And then Korean cosmetic company, one of a very big, largest Korean cosmetic company, Cosmax in here. Who made the Cosmax here? Yeah, government does not relate it to anything at all. So, but previously, our president, the former president, is Kim Dae-jung. He mentioned support, do not, but do not interfere. So Korean public diplomacy, how they use of those kind of a Korean wave or Hallyu, because just to make a chance. So for example, representative example is the speech of BTS in UN. Maybe in Korea, many of people would like to grab that chance to give a speech in UN, but the government decided, probably the president or government decided to give a chance to BTS because they are representative of a speech in behalf or of a young generation in global. That's the one of the very best example how the Korean government make a leverage or use of Hallyu. So it's a really have you ever watched the UN speech in YouTube, on YouTube? Maybe not, but only BTS give a speech. So there is a view of YouTube, it's really record high. very positive impact. So just support means is giving a chance and then give a funding, but not interfere at all. So that's the best example of public diplomacy, I think. Yeah.
I recall when I visited Seoul with President SBY and Minister Mari Pangestu. At that time, she was in charge of creative economy, which we are trying to emulate what policy making was being done in the Hallyu case. And it is still early because it was 2006, 2007. So this is before Oppa Gangnam Style. So this is before the billion hit on YouTube was achieved ever by a Korean. It's not by an American artist or European artist, but by Korean artists. So I think one of the obstacles, sorry to say, I was part of it for 10 years, is government. So when government get involved in creativity, I think, I'm sorry, Mr. Park, you would have, I think, bureaucracy, you have red tapes that hinders, may hinder some of the creative process. So what we need to do is industry must lead, government facilitate. We need to make sure that all this creativity, and I really like the sandbox approach because that allows innovations, that allows collaborations to take place within a set parameters. So Indonesian creative economy law was actually put in place in 2019, and it has 17 subsectors. But it takes another 4 years to around, I think, for us to have the implementing government regulations. And up until now, there's still many of the policies that has been needed by the industry not yet being set up. So including financing, including promoting and joint collaboration. So I think with the advance of technology and the AI, many of those obstacles could be overcome. And I think one of the biggest optimistic and brings some positive impact is Gen Z, the new generations. They don't see this all of this sectoral or ego-sectoral type of separations or clustering. They look at things more into one common platform. And this is something I believe could be used for future collaborations. I think it is another example that is so easy is connectivity. If you see the number of flights between Korea to Vietnam, you'll be amazed because it's just a lot of flights. Unfortunately, we don't have that same connectivity between Indonesia and Korea through our major airports, be it Medan. There's no direct flight to Medan. I think there's a direct flight to Batam, which is actually very helpful. There is flights to Jakarta and Denpasar, but not to other places. So if we want to the government to focus, then focus on the infrastructure, on connectivity. Make sure that the movement and mobility of people could be facilitated.
Okay. Thank you very much for the superb answers. The committee already told me we have quite a limited time, but still we will have an open discussion for 3 questions. You can please raise your hand and the mic will hand it to you. Okay, Mbak Emilia, Pak, yeah, and three. So please help. Yeah.
Thank you. My name is Emilia from Research Center for Politics, BRIN. My question is to Dr. Young and Bapak Sandiaga Uno. Few years ago, when I was a PhD student in Australia, we have discussion with former Foreign Minister Hassan Wirayuda. He said that how Korea became a powerful pop culture. One of the benefits is that since Korea becoming emerging economy and early stage of developed country, it's mean the citizen has more money, more income. Then by the time the Korean parent start developing the skill of the children. So they start sending young children to study music, playing music, classic, dancing, and everything to Europe, to America, to learn about everything about music. And then 25 years later or 20 years later, they come back to Korea and they becoming a powerful band, becoming powerful singer. So this Korean singer is not coming from one night and coming from decade of training and support of funding from parent and also the government. This is actually the Indonesia, unfortunately, doesn't have that because the income of the family sometimes is not enough to send the kid to study abroad, to study in musical conservatory or dancing or anything related with culture. And this is the Korean has. And secondly, I would like to highlight here that when Korea start taking seriously about the industry, let's say the cosmetic industry, how did the Korea start projecting or prioritizing foreign market? Like I have two daughters. When they go to Korea, they really like Korean cosmetic and Korean food. How does the Korean cosmetic industry targeted Asian young market? This is very amazing view that we would like to know. Thank you.
Thank you. My name is Nawawi. I'm from the Research Center for Law, BRAIN. I did a research 2 years ago, sponsored by KF, about the impact of Korean culture in Indonesia, and particularly on the religious education sector, madrasah, pesantren, and so on. Quite interesting that many young students from madrasah, religious school, and also pesantren also like with the Koreans culture pops. But interestingly, when we talk with the kiai, the ulama, and also the teachers about the impact of the Korean waves pop culture to the religious school, there is a different opinion about that. Most of them a bit disagree about this impact to the education, especially for the religious issue. So I'd like to ask about this situation, because Indonesia, as the most populous Muslim country, of course, Korea also need to think about this as a religious, also one of the issue important, how can also interfere with the issue of Korean culture and so on. So I would like to ask about this issue with Pak Sandiaga Uno and also with professor from Sonsei University about this, the interrelation between Korean web culture and specific to the Indonesia as a Muslim country. Is there any obstacle or what the challenge to develop the cooperation with this issue? Thank you.
Thank you. My question is to Dr. Yang and Dr. Sandi. My name is Iwan Ong from Kompas, daily newspaper. So it's a straightforward question. Does this Korean culture, the positive image of Korea, is smoothing the way for other Korean economy, like military industry, military arms sales is much easier for the engagement to the market, and also like other like the IT sectors and also like the shipbuilding sectors. So this, because of this positive image, this will, you know, smoothing the way you engage the market. Like, you know, if we procure arm from Israel or America, from China or Russia, people will, it will instantly raise eyebrow. Okay. So, but if we buy something from Korea and people think, it's, this is a nice people, and you know, it's really affecting other sectors of economy. Just that's my question, and to Pak Sandi also, how you feel this? Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'm Acet Changara from Hasanuddin University, Makassar. Thank you very much. It's nice to can directly encounter Pak Sandiaga Uno in the forum and also Dr. Ko. So in relation to my background from South Sulawesi, I want to ask actually the perspective of both about how South Korea can engage local society and also local youngster in South Sulawesi. This is related to my question. Why actually in South Sulawesi, in Makassar, there is no South Korean consulate? Because now in Makassar, we have Australian consulate, we have Japan consulate, French consulate. Meanwhile, if we see the animal of Indonesian youngster towards Hallyu is very, very massive. And then I'm lecturing in Hasanuddin in international relations, and I supervised maybe around 5 students, final year students, to write about South Korea. And it is very fascinating because it tries to measure how far Indonesian youngster drives crazy by the South Korean culture, by the Hallyu itself. So in that regards, I see the potentiality. This is also maybe my recommendation, the potentiality of how South Korea should approach sub-regional diplomacy, the people in the local area, because I think that this is one of the opportunity more to enhance Hallyu, the key wave, key fashion, key food, and so on. And then that's the first point. So what's your perspective, Dr. Ko, on that issue, and maybe from the embassy as well? And then secondly, from Pak Sandiaga Uno, about how youngsters in the province, in the city, in Indonesia, especially in Makassar, for instance, can approach the opportunity given by South Korea, by the government. What kind of access or the channels that we can, how to say, explore in order youngsters in the regional area in Indonesia can explore global opportunity with Korea. Thank you very much. That's my question for this forum.
Thank you very much, audience. To recap, there's 4 people. First of all, regarding the importance of the government support and the marketing target, and then for Prof. Nawawi is Indonesia's regional religious aspect vis-a-vis the Korean cultures, and then from Mr. Iwan Ong is the how the positive image of Korean culture smoothing the way for other Korean industries. And on the from the last gentleman is how South Korea can approach local community, and particularly to Pak Sandi, Dr. Sandiaga Uno is how can youth in the local area can access South Korean opportunities.
I'll give you a very quick response regarding art education and Korean cosmetics power. Yeah, as you know, you learned something, how hard education in Korea, you run from drama. It's very competitive. So yeah, it's crazy. But actually, it's a classical music or dancing or those kind of very classical art part. The kinds of early education, it's powerful. It makes works, but more like our just a drama or film or those kind of mass entertainment sector. It doesn't relate to the just only education, because I think it's exposure and openness. So some of my friends, also their kids, they stopped studying and just dedicated their life to art or music like that. But now is it become to riding on digital platform, and then to the global market. So people, even though parents give us some more opportunity to the children make a choice by themselves. So that's the two different ways. And how Korean cosmetic is so developed, because consumers are so picky. You know, you check it out, the review on the each product, wow, it's crazy. So it's like a test bed. But before, 20, 30 years ago, even though Lancome or Chanel or those kind of companies, they released the first product in Korea because they want to get a sincere review and critics from the consumer. So Korean consumers, they don't care about the price. They only care about the quality and price. So those kind of active participation in industry make the companies to grow permanently. So, and also in the other side, I mentioned the cosmetics before, is that those kind of OEM, ODM companies grew up so fast, and then they do R&D so much. So they are developed their product with the global cosmetic brand together in the entry level. So now that is one of the strategic partnership between Korean manufacturer and global brand together. It's the one of the power, and also those kind of a cosmetic industry ecosystem that give a more chance in small indie brand. They renew they're selling their products. So this kind of ecosystem, why nowadays, even Indonesian companies also ride on that ecosystem. Cosmetics manufacture the halal cosmetics here, yeah, right? So that kind of one of the reasons. And the Muslim country issue for Korean companies, yes, yeah. So Korean companies, they are care about, and not only companies, even entertainment sector are care about the ethics of those things. So K-pop stars, even though during their training season, they got lesson. Each countries, each different cultural aspect or ethics and other things. So they got trained. So they learn the language and manner and ethics or cultural differences and religions, everything. So they to be very polite in each countries, but sometimes a little mistake, but it's not intentionally. Yeah. And also before, 30 years ago, the Korean companies doesn't have much knowledge about Muslim countries or Muslim culture, but nowadays much improved. But so we still learning, yeah, on the way, yeah. And then the Hallyu is give a positive image for Korean country and corporations, everything. But we need to consider the Korea has a more getting a power, like I always say, strong middle power. Yeah, we are economically, we grew up, and then also we went through the journey of democracy. You remember last year and early this year, there is a massive demonstration for 3-4 months. Keep going on. That kinds of not easy way. All the youngsters on the street, with the lights and demonstrate against the coup and the government is a stupid behavior, something like that. But it is the power of our, it is the source of our soft power itself. So this is not separate. Okay, so it's all get together, give a right or positive image on Korea and Korean brand and Korean people and other things. But many of the much attention paid on Korea. So we needed to take the right journey to make a good equal relationship with each all other countries, our friends too. Yeah, better stop here.
I think on the cosmetics side, I agree. we did a review of all our portfolio. I'm back into managing our own portfolio of companies now, and 2025 is a tough year for Indonesian economy. But there are a couple of investments that actually show positive. And one of that sector that show positive investments is what I describe as glowing economy. Apparently, our ibu-ibu or the female customers, actually, when the economy slows down, it doesn't slow down their desire to look more beautiful. In fact, they want to do more. So if they have light skin, they want to make it more tan. If they're too tan, they want to make it lighter. Depending on each Korean seasons and Korean artists they watch. If their eyebrow is too thick, they want to make it thinner. But if it's too thin, they want to make it bigger. Also nose, lips, and so on and so forth. So one of the investments that we did in the glowing economy is actually showing positive. Now, you're correct. Our buying power and the economic, in terms of GDP per capita, if you look at the ability to participate into educations abroad, is kind of limited. But I think for some of lucky ones, the government have programs already to provide scholarships, including to Korean universities. So I think from the economy point of view, we need to, and that's why we need to grow 8%, as what the President Prabowo said. I used to be with him in the 2019 elections. I was 5 years too early, Dr. Yong. So politics needs timing. I came too early, so that's why I'm I'm not around him anymore. But yeah, I think he wants to grow the economy faster so that the GDP per capita increase. He wants to give better education to the people, better healthcare, and that's why the investments towards some of these basic needs of the people. And I think we are also encouraging more investments from Korea. I have a good friend, Chairman Shin Dong-bin from Lotte, who just, I think 2 weeks ago, Lotte opened a huge investments in Banten. So that's part of, I think, the growing cooperations and collaborations, which with the hope, Ibu, to increase the GDP per capita. But I think we need to see Korea as an inspiration also, because if you look at the 70s, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, we're actually much richer on GDP per capita compared to Korea at that particular point in time, or almost the same, or maybe slightly less. That means the escape of middle income trap that Korea has been successfully engineered in the last 30 years. It's basically because it focused on the investments in the people, educations, better healthcare, better food, and also policy in terms of building infrastructures and creating strong institutions. You correctly pointed out that your democracy is strong. There's many changes in the government and the leaders, but the economy is still strong. So we need to take inspirations from there. The second question's about the pesantren or madrasah. It's very, very particular because we have now close to, if I'm not mistaken, I got this number just recently corrected by the Minister of Religious Affairs, 40,000 pesantren, betul Pak ya? About 40,000 religious schools, boarding schools, and around active and recently graduated santri, which is students of the religious school, around 5 million. So this is huge. And one of the way that we try to cooperate is through a program called Santri Digitalpreneur Indonesia. So first, let's not really expose them to K-pop or to Hallyu, but just to make them engage to digital economy and make sure that the content that they're getting is a content that is positive in terms of building their identity, being not only smart, but very religious and pious, but also open in terms of the modernizations, as well as the emergence of AI. So that actually was able to propel the students to adopt digital economy. In terms of how the Korean sort of like culture mixed with this madrasa or the religious school is, I think, the halal economy. A lot of, if you Google in Seoul and other parts of Korea, there are now more halal restaurants. And actually, there are more mosques. I went to the mosque in Itaewon. It's huge mosque. And they need more Islamic scholars, actually, because there's a lot of interest in Korea for the halal economy, because it's huge. It brings a lot of tourists. It's actually now healthier because the recent study said alcohol, any drop of alcohol is bad for your body. So I know the lover of soju and stuff, but Peter Attia, this experts in longevity and outlive, said that if you could avoid alcohol altogether, that's actually good for your health. So that gels with with the madrasa culture and so on and so forth. And there's some Muslim Korean influencers that we were engaged, about 10 of them. So they embrace Islam, and they've been saying that, well, Korea is very open for halal economy, the food, the place of worships. I'm very, very shocked that in Incheon, the mosque in Incheon, we call it the Musola, is very clean, it's big, and compared to our own airport, it's actually better because it smells better. Some of the mosque in the airport here smells feet. Anyway, so I think there's a lot of potential collaboration, Bapak, with pesantren, and I have facilitated before, and I'm eager to facilitate even now that I'm outside the government. I'm more flexible. Whether Hallyu actually improve the image? Yes, very much so. Why? When I bought my first Korean car, it's Kia Carnival, my kids said that, wow, our economy, your business is slowing down, yeah, Pop. You cannot afford a Japanese or European car. Why you guys, why you bought a Korean car? Is it cheaper? But now I drive a Hyundai Ioniq. No more comment from them. No more comment because they embrace BTS. You know, they're proud Gen Zs. They never ask anything from the parent, but one thing they asked from me 2 years ago when BTS went to UN, and I one of the foundations that also have a Korean president, as Asia Society, hosted BTS. So they wanted to see the meet and greet. They said, Dad, can we have a ticket for that? So yes, the image has gone up. And now the Samsungs, I have a Samsung. I no longer, you have iPad from US, I have Samsung. Yeah, this flip, very, very nice. Oh, it reminds me I'm late for the next meeting. Yeah, but, and also the military, I think the Korean collaborations with Indonesia on the military stuff. And I think the image is, it is definitely helping. I think Bayuan definitely helping, in particular with Gen Z. So I'm very optimistic that if we could collaborate from the shoes to anything that is part of the creative economy, it actually will improve the image of Indonesia as well. And finally, I was once participating in a student exchange program, US, and I think you're right. Korea should open a consulate in Makassar, because Makassar is a gateway to Indonesian East, which is growing very fast through the downstreaming of minerals in Sulawesi or in Maluku and Papua. Anyway, I think that's a good call. I benefited a lot from the student exchange program that the Americans started, the program called American Field Services. So they invite people from all over Indonesia to go to spend 1 year in where? I spent in Long Island, near New York. I think Pa Anies Baswedan spent in Illinois or somewhere. But that actually cement in our early childhood memories and experience about the host country and the host families. And that builds very strong relationship. So much so that when we grow up, we always think, and it's been a very successful program, a student exchange. I think Indonesia and Korea have similar ones. In fact, for the university, we have 2 years of study here and 2 years study in. So that's really effective. And I think we could enlarge it so that Gen Z would have the experience of not learning just the culture, but living in a Korean family. How does it live like? Is it like Parasite? Maybe, or is it like, God, we were last summer, this crazy, now I don't remember, but it's very, it's watched in a Netflix, is not Spy Game. What is? Squid Game, yeah, the Squid Game. So we now have is it true that the Korean sort of like lifestyle is really tough like that? And people probably want to see firsthand and experience. So I think that's a lot of opportunities and something that we could start having a much broader program.
Yeah, just one thing regarding the education or art. Yeah, so let's I can say every big business group or corporation, they have a foundation. And for example, Hyundai Motors Jongmungu the CMK Foundation, they support huge funding for the talented artists when they are young, because it need, even they studied in US or other country or even in Korea, it need a lot of the money or an investment or something like that. So those kind of big corporations, foundation especially, they provided those kind of huge funding for artists, not only Hyundai Motors, even Amore Pacific is a beauty company and all others. So I think the Indonesian civil society give us some pressure to those big corporations to donate and to support. Right? That's the one of the way.
Okay. Thank you very much for this wonderful session. It won't be easy to summarize though this fruitful discussion, but indeed, as Dr. Sko already stated that in her presentation, Hallyu is more than just cultural aspect. The significance of this phenomenon is likely to grow. And I would like also to highlight Dr. Sandiaga's point that there is an enormous opportunity for Indonesia and Korea to explore in the future. Therefore, strengthening network between people and business communities is very essential thing to do. But I would like to close this session with a hope that I take from the K-pop Demon Hunters. That is the connection between the Indonesia and Korea will be going up, 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 because it is our moment and we are going to be golden. Kamsahamnida. Terima kasih. Thank you very much. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. And I give it back to MC.
Thank you very much, Dr. Kanisa, for leading such an inspiring and well-guided discussion. We kindly ask to Dr. Sandi to remain on the stage because Dr. Atika will present the plaque of appreciations. And also we will have another photo session because for the first photo session, we missed the Dr. Sandi. Meanwhile, ladies and gentlemen, you can refill your coffee or tea, and coffee or tea is presented in the front of this room. Yes. Thank you very much, Dr. Sandi. Yes. Thank you very much. And also we kindly invite all the speakers and also head of the research center follow, Dr. Nawawi, to come forward. And also our moderator, Dr. Indriana, to have a group photo session on the stage. Dr. Koo Young-hyo, Mr. Om Tai-ho, Dr. Irin. And after this, we will have a photo session with all the participants. Get ready, Mas photographer. Oh yeah, glowing. Get ready. 1, 2, 3. Maybe with another pose. Salam Brin or Sarang Heo. Okay, thank you. And the next photo session will take place in front of the stage. We kindly invite all participants to please stand and move to a little closer to the front. Speaker and distinguished guests, please take your position in front of the participants facing the stage. And the photographer will take the moment from the stage. Excuse me, sir. We will have one more photo session with all the participants. All the participants will in a standing positions and we will face the stage. And the photographer will take the picture from the stage. We will have another background. Yes, please, for all participants getting closer to the stage, or you can stand up. Please make sure you have your best smile. Okay, get ready. Oke, Bapak Ibu semua, salam sarang hiu. Oke, get ready. Yang di ujung, getting closer please. Oke. Bapak Ibu yang di sebelah pinggir mohon merapat. Salam sarang hiu. 1, 2, 3. Once more, maybe with another pose. Oh yeah, we have brain pose. So take your hand on your chest. Left. 1, 2, 3. Okay, thank you everyone. Meanwhile, you can refill your coffee or tea, and we will continue to the next session, the second roundtable session. Ladies and gentlemen, we will only have about 5 minutes to refill your coffee or tea. And after that, we will continue the next session. You can take your coffee or tea to your table. Sekali lagi kami ucapkan terima kasih banyak atas kehadiran Bapak Dr. Sandi yang hari ini ternyata banyak yang ingin foto bersama Bapak. Terima kasih banyak Bapak. coffee or tea to your table. Thank you. For your information, our lunch will be after the second round table. So if the round table session is please we'll start the next agenda in 1 minute later. Thank you. Bapak Ibu yang kami hormati, agenda roundtable sesi yang kedua akan segera dimulai. Dan bagi Bapak Ibu yang telah merefill kafe dan tea-nya, boleh untuk membawa kafe dan tea-nya ke meja karena sesi yang kedua akan segera dimulai. Terima kasih. Bapak Ibu yang kami hormati, bagi Bapak Ibu yang telah merefill kafe atau tea-nya, dimohon segera menempati tempat duduknya kembali dikarenakan round table sesi yang kedua akan segera dimulai. Terima kasih. Ladies and gentlemen, second round table session will start immediately. Please be seated and have your coffee on your table. Thank you for your cooperation. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. We hope you had an enjoyable coffee. And we will now continue with our next agenda, the second roundtable session entitled Strategic Public Diplomacy Through the Korean Wave Value, Strengthening Indonesia-South Korea Partnerships. The session will be moderated by Dr. Indriana Kartini, Senior Researcher at the Research Center for Politics, National Research and Innovation Agency, BRIN. Dr. Indriana holds a master's degree in international politics from the University of Melbourne and a PhD in political science from the University of Indonesia. Her research focuses on international politics, border sub-regionalism, and geopolitics. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Dr. Indriana. Dr. Indriana, the floor is yours.
Okay, thank you, Mbak MC, Mbak Yani, for giving the opportunity for me to moderate a second session. I hope all participants still keep the spirit up because this is the last session. And I will guide this second session, roundtable session 2, with the theme Strategic Public Diplomacy Through the Korean Wave, Strengthening Indonesia-South Korea Partnerships. And we have two distinguished speakers. And I would like to invite our two speakers, Mr. Tae-ho and Dr. Irin Hiraswari Gayatri. Please come forward. Okay, we have two distinguished speakers, and we have also have an interesting theme to discuss and talks. First, I would like to give the first opportunity to Mr. Om Teho for deliver talks with the theme on culture as strategic asset and how that plays into Indonesia-ROK bilateral relations. Before Mr. Om start his talks, I would like to introduce him briefly. Mr. Teho is a career diplomat with over 20 years of experience, and he's currently serving as counselor and political section chief at the Embassy of the Republic of Korea to Indonesia. He also served in the ROK's mission to ASEAN in Jakarta, permanent mission to the United Nations in New York, USA, and also in Washington, D.C. His educational background, he received a bachelor's degree in political science from Seoul National University and a master's degree in public policy from Harvard Kennedy School, Harvard University. So please, Mr. Time is yours. So maximum 15 minutes.
Thank you very much. It was very good to see everybody pretty much in a celebratory mode, like about 1 minute ago. And then to have everybody sit down again and listen to my presentation. I'll try to make it as interesting as possible and short as possible. Now, my role today is to talk about my government's policy on how we intend to use K-culture and promote K-culture as a strategic industry, and how that plays into our bilateral relations with Indonesia. And I think it's a very timely discussion coming on the heels of the APEC summit and also our bilateral summit that happened for the first time since President Prabowo and President Lee Jae-myung taken office. Dr. Go and the minister gave a very hands-on, detailed, terrific session. So what I want to do is take it back a little bit, give you a little bit of background historically and policy-wise, and then take you through what my government's intention and my president's intention is. You know, before I go on, I'm apologies for my voice. It is much better usually. But I cheered really hard for my son's volleyball team over the last weekend. I pretty much lost my voice, and I tried really hard to get it back, but I'll try to keep it. I have a little bit of water with me. I'll try to keep it as smooth as possible. Now, with the introduction, I think you pretty much heard, I was director for North Korean nuclear affairs before coming here. I was also serving at the president's office in the security for security affairs. But I'm very happy to speak to all of you today because my passion has always been, rather than security, next slide, please. K-pop. Yeah, so that's me right there in the middle, dancing bang, bang, bang of Big Bang. This is a article from a Korean news agency. You're taking photos? Okay. From a Korean news agency like exactly 10 years ago. So the only reason why I ended up being only a diplomat because my talents were not good enough. But really my passion is always with K-pop. So what is it with these Koreans, you know, with all this art, you know, songs, dances? Next slide, please. I told you I'm going to take you back a little bit in history. You know, Koreans have been, you know, over their thousands of years of history, really known for their, as I put it, persistent pursuit of aesthetics. So even in like thousands of years ago, the elite would pursue beauty through calligraphy, through shijo, the Korean poetry, and the ordinary people through their folk songs and folk drawings. You saw some of the folk drawings and the characters from the K-pop Demon Hunters. So all that has a very long history embedded into it. But I give you this person because he's pretty much a culmination of all of that. He is an independence activist who, throughout the colonial rule, he led pretty much our provisional government in Shanghai. He was a president, he was a prime minister, he was a minister, and he led armed resistance against the Japanese colonial rulers. But then he writes a book in 1943, and it's with a chapter called My Wish. And he lays out his vision for his country, what kind of a country that he wants to be. Remember, this is 1943, 2 years before the end of the colonial rule, but with no end in sight. And this guy is organizing, armed resistance to the colonial rulers. And then what does he say? He says, the only thing I infinitely desire for is the power of high culture. And he goes on to say, I want Korea to be the most beautiful country in the world. Power of wealth, it's okay. Like if people can feed themselves, it's fine. That's enough. Military power, if we can, deter other countries from invading us, that's enough. But the only thing that I infinitely wish for, that is cultural power, because the power of culture not only makes ourselves happy, it goes beyond that to make others happy as well. Now, this would not be that important if it's just a quote from me, because I'm not that important. But next slide, please. This is my president giving his Liberation Day speech, first Liberation speech, the biggest speech of the year. And he says, independent activist Kim Goo's dream of Korea becoming a cultural powerhouse is coming true. And, he, in many occasions, he continues to, really refer to this. It shows that Kim Goo's dream of a cultural powerhouse, of making ourselves happy and others happy as well, is really embedded as a philosophy in his national policies. And that's what I'm trying to show you today through my presentation. Now, he says, it's coming true, but this is not a done deal. It's just a start. Next slide, please. So, everything a president does is very carefully choreographed. Nothing is done for no reason. So, especially when the president does something for the first time, it holds a lot of meaning. I don't know if you know what was the news media outlet that my president did a one-on-one interview for the first time. It was Yomiuri Shimbun, not a Korean outlet. It was a Yomiuri Shimbun, a conservative Japanese news media for the first time. What country did he visit for the first time? Japan. It sends out a message that, yes, when he was the opposition leader, Japan has some reasons to be worried about it. But he's sending out a message through what he's doing that Japan, don't worry about it. I'm going to be in very good terms with you. And I'm going to be making all the efforts to have a very good relationship with you. That was what he did. And now I'm showing you this because this is the first ever TV program that my president chose to go on. Is K-pop, the next chapter. Out of all the, TV programs, he chose this. He used it as a platform to launch his vision of a cultural powerhouse. Now, he talks about Seolleongtang or the Gaktugis, because, K-pop Demon Hunters, it had a little bit of everything. So he used that to refer to his vision of wanting to promote culture as an industry. And then he talks about, Kim Gu again too, like his vision. And the essence of his message was that he wants to make it into an industry. So culture and creative industry is a key part of my government's key industry development strategy. But then another point, I found it really interesting because Professor Go actually mentioned this. She didn't know what I was going to talk about. She actually mentioned this. Support without intervention. what comes down since the days of Kim Dae-jung. So this is really interesting. Look where my president is sitting down. Of all those people, is he in like a head table, like a VIP seat with a big, sofa chair? No, he's in the same chair with everybody. These are the makers who contributed to the K-pop T100s. Maggie Kang, the director, and then Twice, my favorite. Yeah, they saw the takedown in K-pop T100s, and the other artists. He's just one of them. And he didn't even get the chance to speak first. Maggie Kang spoke, and then Twice spoke, and then he had to raise his hand to speak, But I think that was all by choreography, because he wants to show it's not the government taking the lead. Follow my lead. No, that's not the message. It's like you guys are doing it, but we're supporting it, but we're not intervening. I think he was trying to, because you need to, when you put it out as your vision, you need to be careful not to give the wrong impression that the government is taking it over. So I think that was carefully choreographed message that he wanted to send out. And then, in the show, he's asked a question, what do you think has the biggest potential? And he says, K-food. And guess what? Next slide, please. I don't know if you know this show. It's on Netflix. It's on Netflix because I can see it. It's Chef in My Fridge. It's like, 냉장고를 부탁해. This is the first entertainment show that he went on. Entertainment show. He could do anything, but he goes on a K-food entertainment show to say that, K-culture is like the core, of our natural resources. And he talks about K-food. Once food suits your taste, it sticks with you. It's durable. That gives the potential as an export industry. So he really he uses his time and allocates his presence to promote the K-food industry. Now, but if we're going to make it into policy that we're talking about, can we next slide, please? So that's what my minister mentioned, my charge of affairs mentioned, the K initiative. So this is then candidate Lee Jae-myung, not the president, announcing his vision for the country. It's a K initiative. So this K initiative is literally a term coined to collectively refer to various fields that we envision ourselves to lead in the world. There are many sectors to it. We talk about AI, we talk about bio, semiconductors, everything. But then, K culture is at the core of it. And to me, this is like the most important factor because K culture, this is the one thing that adds uniqueness to everything Korean. And I think this is what the Mr. Reporter from the Compass actually said, what K culture does has actual impact on other sectors immediately. So, and also on the Professor Ko slide, I saw that culture drives demand, which is absolutely true. So the soft power that complements and balances the hard power. That's, I think, what my government is shooting for. And that is why the K culture policy is at the forefront of my government's K initiative. So in order to support that, his campaign pledge was to create a 300 trillion won K culture market. And, whenever a Korean government takes office, they announce their national agendas. The Jae-myung administration also does that. They announced 123 national agendas. And of them, 5 are regarding the K culture. And one of that is to promote K culture as national strategic industry. So in order to do that, he created a presidential committee on popular culture exchange. And heading this is, I don't know if you know JYP. Do you know it? JYP? Oh my God. Okay. I think I'm too old. JYP is according to Professor Ko's presentation, it's the first generation K-pop. Yeah, I'm the first generation. So like HOT, yeah, those days, HOT, JYP, those days. Yes. Jin Young Park, he's now leading one of the biggest, Korean, K-pop industry enterprise. He's now a minister level official, government official heading this committee. And he also talks about increasing the budget. And he recently said in a meeting that future of Korea depends on realizing Korea as a creative cultural innovation powerhouse. Now, up to this point, I'm only talking about Korea. So is it only domestic? It's not. So next slide, please. So this is the Gyeongju Declaration that everybody worried about whether it's going to come out, but we managed to come out with the outcome document. So this is the outcome document from the APEC summit. I don't know if you know, we had the theme, Building a Sustainable Tomorrow, Connect, Innovate, and Prosper at the APEC summit. And the session 2 was Preparing a Future-Ready Asia-Pacific. And we, as the host, provided 3 themes in that discussion. One is AI, the other one's aging and low birth rate, and the third is culture and creative industry as the new growth engine. Now, if it's only the Korean thing, it holds lesser meaning. However, I think one of the most significant outcomes that we got out of the APEC is that first time in APEC history, in the outcome documents, we put in the creative and innovative, creative and culture industry as the new growth engine. This is Article 12, just part of it. And so we are really trying to bring the whole community together. And we want to emphasize, this might sound like something I gave you earlier, fostering people to ties, encouraging better understanding, mutual respect among member economies. The reason we call the K-culture industry a strategic industry, it goes beyond making money. We are looking to use it as a platform to promote and facilitate solidarity and cooperation within the global community, especially in such a fractured and rivalry-driven international environment. Next slide, please. And the reason I say this is a very timely discussion is that just 10 days ago, we had the first Korea-Indonesia summit between President Prabowo and President Lee Jae-myung. We were very happy to host him for the first time as president in Korea. I don't know if you saw the videos on Instagram of my president mending, President Prabowo's scarf, standing right next to him. I just loved it. It was a really great time for our leaders to bond. But there are 3 things that my president's office put out as the key outcomes of the meeting. One is economic cooperation. One is let's meet often, summit diplomacy. But what to me was really interesting was what came out of that, the 3 things, the key deliverables that came out of that meeting included cultural and creative industry cooperation. Our 2 leaders agreed to establish an official consultation channel. I don't know if it's going to be JYP representing my country, but anyway, establish official consultation channel and also pursue ROK Indonesia joint ventures. This is exactly one of the things that Professor Go was talking about. One of the 4 was, pursuing joint ventures, and our leaders have already, agreed to go about that. And I think it really sets the tone for Korea-Indonesia cooperation. President Prabowo talked about how Indonesians loved K-culture and K-pop. And the know-how, when we combined that with the know-how of our major K-culture businesses of how to industrialize, the culture. If we combine that with the IPs of Indonesia, the cultures of Indonesia, there's so much potential. And Korea, we're already investing a lot in Indonesia. And, we could possibly use maybe the Dharantara Fund to tap into the full potential of culture and creative economy as the next growth engine that we could tap into together between Korea and Indonesia. And I think, November summit was a terrific start because the 2 presidents' terms has just started. So there's plenty of time for the 2 leaders to ignite a momentum and follow through. And this has a lot of potential because when we talk about this is a 2-way process, we're not kidding. For example, I don't know if you know a YouTube influencer called like Korean called Ziyang. She came to Indonesia and she, recorded a few videos of going into warungs and, restaurants. And then it hit 16 million views, the interest of Koreans in Indonesian culture, Indonesian food is just phenomenal. And also I take Bahasa programs from your embassy in Korea, it's the BPOP program. And it's amazing every, semester, the increase of numbers of Korean people taking Bahasa courses is just amazing. That momentum is there. So I think this cooperation between our leaders can really tap into that momentum and magnify it into an industry. Okay, so that's it for me. I'll wrap it up here and we'll talk more at the question sessions. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Om. And he finally admitted that his passion is also K-pop. And we also can see him dancing in Instagram embassy of our case embassy. And yeah.
Soda pop, you can go onto our Instagram, but no, because I'm not the young me now, so.
But you still have a good dancing. Okay, thank you for your interesting presentation. And we also have a very good insights about the national agenda of President Lee Jae-myung and how he taking seriously about this K culture and K industry into South Korean national agenda. Before I open the questions, I will give the second speakers, Dr. Irin Hiraswari Gayatri. He's an army, so she will also deliver a passionate presentation. Okay, before she starts, I would like to introduce Dr. Irin. She is a senior researcher at the Research Center for Politics, BRIN, and she holds a PhD in International Relations from the School of Social Sciences in Monash University, Australia. And she specializes in norm diffusions, transnationalism, gender mainstreaming, insecurity, and foreign policy. She's currently serving as the cluster coordination for foreign policy and international issues, and also a executive director for most UNESCO BRIN. So please, Dr. Irin, time is yours.
안녕하십니까. Thank you. Good day, everyone. It's really great to see you after one brilliant session this morning, and also a brilliant speaker, Mr. And I'm afraid that I'm lost of words, but I hope not. 저는 이리나입니다, and I've been trying to learn serious Korean language class from the online Sejong Institute, and thank you very much for my lecturer, Mr. Jongkeun, that I am now almost entering the topic 1 exam. So I think that deserves some sort of clapping hands. But before that, thank you so much. So that is actually a very good evidence on how culture became a bridge of an exchange between two nations separated by different faith post-Cold War, and now they are in the position of exporting but also importing exchanges and all other material artifacts via people-to-people diplomacy. So my title is, so you see this is a picture of Demon Hunter. Yeah, the Saja boys during the recent Army Day in the Korean embassy. We took picture. I went there with Dr. Indri, and we had a very good time. It was full of food, all Korean food, but some also Western food. Korean traditional drinks, including soju, and also some of souvenirs we received when we went home, including the hottest ramyun noodle you could find in the supermarket. Also, this morning, I just wanted to share my personal experience. Before I rehearse of my speech, I watched a TikTok showing our dear Pak Bogum looking for snacks during his tour in BSD concert recently. It was really amazing for me as an Indonesian, who is also a fan of K-pop since probably 2012, to see how big was the enthusiasm of Gen Z in Indonesia. Despite of the protests and political commotion in Jakarta, Pak Bogum was managed to have a successful concert at BSD. So that is also showing us that art in the purest form channel emotions, beauty, and also what is called interest among Indonesian youth. The second slide would show how our Minister of Foreign Affairs shook hands during APEC community. If you go to his personal account, Mofa Sugiono apparently also did not hesitate. He does not hesitate to show his admiration toward K-pop. Sometimes he put music in his posts, and some of them also clearly musical from the K-pop, especially during his trip in APEC. That means also our official Indonesian government knows really well on how to utilize culture as a bridge of communication, even during a very serious event like APEC. So what UNESCO said in 2023 clearly show this, that culture increasingly permeates international relations and foreign policy. And we saw this over the past 2 decades because it has moved from the margins to the very center of diplomacy, like Dr. Ko mentioned this morning, and also Bapak Dr. Sandi from his personal experiences and his positions in a very important task as the government officers, but also from we evidently show by Mr. On his personal level involvement as part of the K-pop band, and then as diplomat at the UN, but also as a diplomat in ASEAN and in Indonesia at the current. So my understanding about culture as part of diplomacy is that personal perspective is very important, but also insight of this person as diplomat is really important because that will shape the way you communicate with the other countries, especially when your country puts so much weight on your shoulders regarding the material potential of this country, like South Korea, with the insights, the culinary traditions, and also the music, the movies, etc. So by embracing Hallyu, for instance, Indonesia has strategically used popular culture as soft power. We build goodwill. We also develop people-to-people connections. What interests me so much, this morning, Dr. Ko mentioned that government did not interfere. My understanding is that when the government does not interfere, that is the best facility for any creative organization can take. Indonesian history, perhaps also similarly shared by the Koreans, South Koreans, had ups and downs relationship with the government, the community, and the people. Also in Indonesia, we really cherish the level of government support toward our small-scale economic organization or UMKM. It was during 2 decades of President Jokowi administration, now continued by President Prabowo, who started to shape what should the commoners do when it has creativity. Government perhaps, in the Indonesian context, government perhaps has so many rules. Sometimes a small-scale entrepreneur confused about the rules. So many taxes forms to fill, right? Stories about oligarchs, but that do not stop them to become part of the, mobile community related to pop culture. This is what I witnessed. So through K-pop, K-drama, fashion, and food, Indonesians and Koreans evidently are forming emotional bonds that go beyond politics or economics, and that's quite obvious. Culture, in this sense, becomes a bridge, one that connects hearts before it connects policies. Next slide. So this is our dear. Anyone? Can you show hands? Who is the fans of Bak Bogum? He's really amazing. I just finished the series, Good Boy. Yeah, when he became was it Good Boy or Dr. Kai? Could you correct? Is the newest movie of Bak Bogum? He's a boxer and then became national bad boy or good boy. I think good boy. Yeah, bad boy. Yes, he's really good. He played very good as well in another movie that my mom loved it so much. She played twice already that series. So Bak Bogum, the one that I'm informed earlier that he just finished his concert despite the protest in Jakarta. So what literature review says? This is mostly some of them Indonesian writing, Magdalene, and several other from other countries, literature. But they say, very interesting. So the shift in cultural diplomacy toward co-creation, cross-community collaboration, just exactly like Dr. Sandy mentioned earlier this morning. It's not one-way process. It is now by process because every party involved in cultural diplomacy could appreciate what is being delivered and how would I facilitate it. Because both of them know what would be the impacts. Appreciate beauty and also appreciate the involvement of everyone in this project. So social media and online communities, for instance, become powerful spaces for digital diplomacy, where everyday citizens, not only diplomats. So how many percent of us diplomats? We are only outside of the embassy building. We are just everyday citizens, shape the narrative of international relations, international friendship. Recent studies by Damini, Nosser, Magdalene, and others emphasize the growing influence of non-state actors. Not that my focus is the transnationalism. The importance of non-state actors is pretty much into, we can highlight them. Because it's no way this diplomacy can go further without the role of non-state actors. Especially fan communities and influencers. Seyong, I sometimes visited her YouTube as well. Several of Korean influencers are in Indonesia and they, tried the culinars, discussing about lifestyle and so on and so on. Very interesting and very interactive. Also, Indonesian influencers in Korea, South Korea, going from one historical site to another and telling very interesting stories about the history of Sejong, for instance. Joseon Dynasty. Maybe at the moment, my mother recite about history of Joseon Dynasty more than Sriwijaya or Majapahit. Who knows? From the Joseon Dynasty Kingdom that is very popular through Netflix, Prime Video, but also Disney. 3 platforms that connect watchers in Indonesia and also globally with the Korean movies and also music. So this also fostering trust between communities, right? Between societies. And within this new landscape, pop culture has emerged as one of the most effective tools of 21st century diplomacy. So mind if I say that, don't mind actually, that without K-pop, my day feels empty. That is really true. This morning, for instance, other than watching TikTok of Bak Bogum, I also listened to BTS song, very inspiring. And it tells about the inequality in the country. That song also interestingly was played during a youth demonstration in Jakarta. Okay, next slide. So these only 4 milestones of Hallyu Indonesia. Anyone interested can contact me for this paper later. So inspiring by Dr. Ko. Also, I have not cited her. This is my understanding from reading. Early 2000, because this is Indonesia, early 2000, my mother and I, we are fan of Endless Love and Winter Sonata, and that is Winter Sonata. And then late 2000, we started to know the K-pop emergence from Super Junior, Good Generation, led to fan club and the first K-pop concerts in Jakarta. Unfortunately, I had no money at the time. and 2010 above mainstream boom, Hallyu becomes a nationwide phenomenon. So Ujung Pandang students from Hasanuddin also have an avid fan club of BTS. Now I know that. Top groups like BTS and Blackpink amass huge Indonesian followings, Korean films and variety shows find a ready audience online. So I found myself looking for a free, full movie of Korean series that I could not find anywhere. So this is very important also for Korean movie industry. So multi-sector influence. Korean pop culture pervades various faceted Indonesian life. From beauty product, we learned from Dr. Ong, Dr. Ko this morning, and also Mr. How its global presence solidifies, and Indonesia remains at the forefront of this trend, integrating Korean cultural elements into its pop culture while deepening diplomatic friendships. I think we go second after India in terms of BTS fans club. Next slide. So this is the example of how fandom create a very useful community in Indonesia. This is BTS Army Care disaster response. So during disaster, I think it started with Padang earthquake, they start to congregate themselves and collect donations. Even during the democratization protests in Jakarta, several of army also created purple banner to show solidarity about the death of the Gojek driver at that time. So this is specifically touch the cognitive aspect of individual. So diplomacy, cultural diplomacy is not only a symbol, but it is permeates the everyday life. This is what every citizen connect. So if you are an army, instead of gossiping, instead of bashing other K-pop group, why don't we use a useful outlet to show our global concern? Disaster response is part of the global concern. This is another example is Korea-Indonesia student. See, Universities of Korea Studies. And if you click this link, you will find a very cool conversation, all Indonesians, about aspect of Korean culture. And they also share what would be our generation contribute to this conversation. Should Indonesia younger generation also be part of this? Or can we create something as well like the Hallyu brings to us? Next slide. I think moderator had wanted me. Okay, so this is quite important as well, actually. So I think cultural diplomacy also needs some milestones. What would be the basis or foundations, right? Several studies, interestingly, from Indonesian university students and also research institute mentioned that between January and September 2023, Indonesia accounted for 0.7-0.4 billion on-demand audio and video streams of the top 100 K-pop artists. So mind you, if you know BTS songs is probably at the 1, 2, 3, elite 5 level of Billboard, most probably million voters come from Indonesia. We were also advised as part of the army community, for instance, to vote Jungkook, J-Hope, and several other of BTS singers during online survey for their position in MMA. So this is the real people-to-people diplomacy. What happened in this specific place in Seoul also affect how we perceive, how we should act toward it. Research also notes that Indonesia is one of the most active K-pop fan communities in the world, including in terms of the negative bashing against other K-pop. So I think this is like similar to the fandom of soccer club, right? You're very fanatic to BTS, you're very fanatic of Blackpink, you're very fanatic for their own private life, but that's what makes it interesting. It's not something to be discussed about or taken 100% negativity, but this shows that people actually has this emotional bond that transboundary, trans-sovereignty. So another studies also mentioned that Indonesia ranks among the top countries in volume of tweets about K-pop between July 2019 to June 2020.
Sorry, Byron, you have 1 minute.
So two other important top of the mind from the article also mentions that while it's difficult to pin down an exact number, Indonesian K-pop fans number in the world of hundreds of thousands. Okay, so I will just go skip again 2 slides. Okay, these are some of the studies that I read. And of course, Mr. You can have this paper as well later. Yeah. Oh, this is BTS, of course. So that being said, while there is no definitive figure for the total number of K-pop fan bases or individual fans in Indonesia, multiple studies indicate a highly active and growing community. So this is the importance of the cultural diplomacy, highly active community, right? For example, the 2021 survey found 88% of sampled fans used Instagram fandom communities, and a 2024 regional study in Java reported over 12,000 fans in that province alone. So imagine the market potential. Imagine is our government also very keen to understand this data and support our artists as well, to export the same cultural agility as South Korean to us through the Hallyu. So this is a challenge actually. What I wanted to show is that these are challenges for the creativity ministry of Indonesia government, like Mr. Sandi Uno did in his past office period. So given Indonesia's scale, social media engagement, and concert tour presence, it stands among the largest national K-pop fandoms globally, an asset in analyzing soft power and cultural diplomacy dimensions. So let's think about it for a while, think it in our mind. We have almost 300 million population in Indonesia, and I challenge the current government in order to shape, support, facilitate any creative energy organization in Indonesia, so we could be a good partner of Hallyu globally. Next. This is during the Asian Games in Jakarta. So this is what Indonesian government did in the past. Very creative, straight to the point, and using strategy, pragmatic strategy in order to engage participants to attend this show. I think I also went to this closing ceremony as well. Next. This is also very important. If you go to Kokas, the plaza, you will find this KCC. And if you go to Sumatra, sometimes ago, this is in North Sumatra, they have K-pop sing dance cover contest in Sumatra. So if you go to a very, vibrant fandom community, there will be a specific event to commemorate the bond between you and your idols. And that will be, open for public usually. Next. Yeah, this is our dear Sandi Uno, Dr. Sandi Uno with Siwon during his visit. And this is the Indomie Seleraku. Oh my God, Indomie. It shows our bond, Indonesian products with the Korean new jeans K-pop idol. So these three serve as trade and networking platforms, quite obvious. Joint creative industry. I think the current government needs to respond more, especially during this new economy. And also brand collaboration could be perhaps being more advanced, because Indonesia is not having less of the culinary products that attract foreigners. I think I will have one or more slides. Yeah. So these are several of our milestones in the past. Positive public sentiment reinforced the music, media, and cultural collaboration. I think what I appreciate so much is the people behind the scene. They really work hard, intensive communications, and also find a very perfect outlet in order to show and deliver the message to the public. And I think this is also a very important way of Indonesia-South Korea bilateral relationship. Next slide. Okay, what would be my policy recommendation to the current government in Indonesia? Sustain joint cultural programs, definitely. And then co-produce cultural content featuring both nations' talents. I think Indonesian government need to work more and fast. Because if we claim ourselves as middle power, then we should act accordingly, not only in theory. Yeah. And we need also to promote reciprocal cultural promotion and language learning. This is very important. So I can be an example of, practitioner in terms of cultural diplomacy, because I wanted to know what happened with the history of language. It's really interesting because you will have two types of numerical system in the Korean language, for instance. No, I know that. I also appreciate several of my South Korean friends went to Jogja, to study Bahasa Indonesia. So we need to, advance this more. Together, these steps, I believe, can ensure that Indonesia does not just participate in global culture, not just participate, but it also actively shape it. Okay, last slide. As Pak mentioned, this is our leaders shook hands during APEC. Hallyu as a bridge of diplomacy has transformed Indonesia and South Korea relations, providing how cultural flows can build lasting diplomacy. This partnership, my understanding is that it exemplifies how soft power can create regional stability, goodwill, and cooperation across Asia. Last, as Kisan S. Rana mentioned, cultural diplomacy is not just the part of culture, not just the export of culture. It is the art of creating mutual understanding and respect among nations. And that truly is what partnership represents. And I hope it's sustained. Thank you so much. Kamsahamnida.
Thank you, Dr. Irin, for your powerful, meaningful presentation. And I will not summarize, but I just would like to have a hint from both speakers. First from Mr. And also from Dr. Irin. I just have a hint that for the government support is just support, not interfere. I think that's the keywords for our government to support the culture and creative industries in relation to the how Korean Wave have influenced both countries in economic creative industry, and also how seriously the I think South Koreans government under President Lee Jae-myung, I think one of the government that really taking seriously about the soft power diplomacy in culture and to be globally influenced. And also we can see from how the government gave the opportunities for like RM to deliver a speech in a APEC summit. And this shows about how government support for the to widespread globally the Korean Wave, and how also for the creative industry asking for the support from the government, especially when RM said about they asked about the financial support for the Korean creative industry. So I will not give questions for both speakers. I just will give the opportunities to the floors to ask questions. So I will open the Q&A sessions. Probably 3 questions. First, Kanisa. And then second one, Bundari. Third one is Donna. Okay, please.
Okay, thank you very much. My question is to Mr. So I think the aspect about supporting creative industry, there are also aspects about censorship. And when we talk about creative industry, it's something that sometimes cannot be cannot be put in cages. They keep developing and developing, and they might sometimes have different opinion with the government. I think that's what Pak Sandi previously said. Like our governments have that sometimes have that problem when when they cannot handle creative industry. There are several ways whether they cannot handle it administratively or substantially in the form of having censorship. How the government of Korea deal with that? How can the government of Korea support creative industry really without what's the word you use, without disturbing the process of creativity itself? Thank you very much.
Okay, second question.
Thank you. Thank you so much for the both speaker who have already give insight about the culture diplomacy, both from Korea and also from Indonesia. I'm interested on the data which already sought with from my dear friends, colleagues Irin, Dr. Irin. From the data that you have already showed to us, it seems to me that the impact of Hallyu to Indonesia is so impressive, yeah, regarding about what the army's supporter have already done in Indonesia, and also how many demands about the K-pop song and so on, yeah. So for me, it implies that the culture diplomacy of Korea is more successful in Indonesia. What's about Indonesia itself to Korea, the culture diplomacy? In what ways that structural or strategic factors that may explain to that asymmetric outcome between Korea and Indonesia? And other things, from the morning until now, all the speakers talk about that the government of Korea does not intervene to that the emerging globally of K-pop. I'm wondering about the term of not intervene. In what ways that the government not intervene, but on the other side, why that the K-pop and K-food and all related with K is successfully until now and globally? Maybe you can explain so we can learn something from Korea. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Donna, please.
Okay, thank you. My name is Donna. I'm researcher for Research Center for Politics. So I would like to ask to Mr. Tae-hyo, and also maybe Dr. In, you can elaborate more about my question. So we do agree that it is a strategic partnership between Indonesia and Korea through cross-cultural synergy. And our previous speakers has also mentioned that the Korean government gives support by giving chance to the artists, to the people there to elaborate their and to embrace their creativity to make the diplomacy around the world. But since last year, I was the representative of Indonesia in Tokyo Youth Democracy Forum, and there I also met the representative from Korea, and I found a fact that there is a problem with Korean youth that they say that they face some problems. For example, they think that there is intense competition, and they thought that the government isn't giving opportunity to them to getting involved to the policy making process, and they also think that politics is not relevant with their culture, with their life. So do you think that it is a threat for the development of the Hallyu or the Korean wave? Not only we are not only talking about the relationship between Indonesia and Korea, but also Korea and other countries' relationship. And how does the government, the Korean government, address this problem? Because we can see that the youth today, I think it's not only happened in South Korea, but also in Indonesia and other countries. We face skepticism from the youth itself. The youth is starting to fleeing from the politics. So how do you think that your government will address this problem? Thank you.
Thank you. Three questions directly to Mr. regarding like first from Kanisa about the all have the curiosity on how the Korean government support the K-culture, K-pop industries without disturbing the industries, and also from Ibu Ganawati also would like to know about in what ways that the term support but not interfere. That's also my curiosity. And also from Donna asked about the youth, yes. And also, I think that's all questions directly to Mr. And others to Dr. Erin. So I will give the opportunity first to answer to Mr. Please.
Thank you very much. They're very interesting questions and very big questions at the same time. I think, the first and the second questions are kind of related, so I'll kind of like try to answer it at the same time. So the support and do not intervene. I think my president recently actually gave his thinking of what he means by that. It is actually literally not interfering with the outcomes of the creative products. But then what the government's role is to lay the foundation and support it from behind. So specifically, so he was mentioning the lack of, let's say, the lack of like big auditorium or performance theaters in Korea, that you need the government's intervention to provide the venue for performance, but not only the big ones, but then smaller ones for, smaller businesses, very newly advent groups to provide the infrastructure for that. And also the education, something that came up in the first session. He, said, what makes money? So K-pop industry, you can make money out of it, but then the fine arts industry isn't really, the source of income or revenue. So that is the part where government can come in and support with the education and, the opportunities for fine arts. But then, it's really not judging. So I think you mentioned censorship also, but it's really my government is trying to stay away from. And I think that is the reason why, because it was so free, because it was so, void of like outside intervention, that K-pop is used, let's say, and, in the process of, I think Professor Ko also mentioned, in the process of, the late last year and early this year, what happened in Korea, months of demonstrations, but then it's not a violent demonstration. It is the K-pop and the K-culture is like, they play the K-pop music in the demonstration process. Now, if they did not think of the K-pop music as a symbol of liberty and the symbol of their creativity, they would not have used it in their demonstrations. So I think the role of the government is to support it, but then to keep that sense of freedom, liberty, and creativity alive. I think that's what my government is trying to do. And then the youth question, that's a very big question. It's like going well beyond Hallyu. But then I think the very fact that Korean youth that you interacted with felt really free to, criticize the government. I think that's the key, being able to do that. Now, Korea faces a very structural problem. We have the lowest birth rate in the world. By far, we, per family, we have 0.76 birth rate. That is, no country in the world has lower than 1, 0.76. So what that creates is the structural problem where the electorate has a much bigger population, proportion of older generations voting than the younger generation. So it is more of a structural problem. But then I think the government is well aware of that. I think it is the government role to be aware of that imbalance and try to tap into the voices of the youth more. And to me, the Hallyu and this whole culture industry is a way of doing that. Giving them a voice, giving them the platform, and with the route to voice their opinions. So I don't think it's a threat to the industry. I think it's a more of an opportunity provided to the youth industry, and I hope it can work out that way. Yeah, so I'll stop here.
Okay, thank you. And Ibundari, questions to Dr. Erin about your data?
Yeah, thank you so much, Professor Dari. This is really interesting, but also a bit irony at the same time, right? Because that is only show, and as I mentioned earlier, this is showing how different approaches has been taken between Indonesian government and South Korea in terms of understanding and facilitating efforts from their own citizens regarding art as part of diplomacy. When we're talking about Hallyu, actually what permeates citizen everyday life is not music, but also lifestyle and also fashion and culinary and top of mind. So this morning, Dr. Kolf, that also shows musician Indonesian artists abroad. In terms of this exporting art as part of the culture, we also had experience, for instance, expo events in Japan, right? Indonesia is a regular attendees, but also we sent delegates of artists, including my mom in 1970, to Expo Tsukuba. And then every year, Indonesian government sent delegates. During President Sukarno, during President Suharto, all of Indonesian presidency always sent delegates to Japan. Now that from that Expo Tsukuba, for several days, we have pavilions from Aceh to Papua that send dancers, but also open stalls. We also sent several of our officials in several of the Japanese schools in several prefectures to tell them what is Indonesian culture and so on and so forth. But I mean, if we compare it to the way the South Korean government and also non-government actors are trying to shape their culture in a very accessible way among Indonesians, I think we could also learn from them. And I think that way we will understand Korea's soft power strategy. So I took some notes because I understand government policy and investment. The Korean governments, for instance, since the late 1980s, actively funded cultural industries, right? Why? The question would be why they wanted to invest so much. What sort of perspectives behind that to decide, finally, okay, this is the area I wanted to invest. Indonesia has 250, probably almost 300 million people. We are a heterogeneous society. We have very unique traditions. We have 5 or 6 like Abrahamic religions with its culture. Abrahamic religion in Indonesia is not only a religion, but also a way of life, and it creates economy. So the thing is, how we could shape all of this heterogeneity, the material culture, not only symbolic culture. Every Ramadan, festivals, right? Every Christmas, city festival in the majority Christian religion tradition is a part of Indonesia. Why don't we repackage it? And this became part of our diplomacy. We could call it, like South Korean consistently put it K in every first letter of the. We could put it I or N for Indonesia or Nusantara. Nusantara pop, Nusantara kuiner, you name it. But that is actually beyond my pay grade to think such detail. Although as a researcher, we could approach it from different aspects. Another thing is that in Korea, I learned public-private collaboration is a very serious thing. Major companies like SM, YG, CG work with government incentives to professionalize production, marketing, and global distribution. Let us identify if this way also possible in Indonesia from the Ministry of Pariwisata Aircraft. Yeah, and tourism. So, I mean, because we are in the middle of the global competition, we also understand that we need to have consideration toward global tourism, sustainable tourism, and all of these SDGs credos in our citizen, you know. We also understand that global cultural diplomacy, embassies, cultural centers, and institutions need to be the focal point of our agenda, cultural agenda. And then, of course, we learn from this morning and also from you. Korea embraced early global online platforms from YouTube streaming to reach global audiences. And I think at the moment, Indonesian YouTubers and also, you know, TikTokers, we also could reach global. But how would be this part of the cultural diplomacy strategy? That is my question. That can also lead to further research. The other thing that I also, I perhaps need to apologize if there is this Ministry of Foreign Affairs attend this as in our audience, because there seems to be a disruptive in terms of synergy between our president and the Minister of Foreign Affairs and the institution in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. You know, this is a very different era than previous president, because personalization of international politics is also one of the character of our current president. He is a very dear actor in terms of the global, you know, ceremonies. And also, since he is a military, he's having this top-down approaches, and also the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. It should be part and parcel of the institutionalization of our foreign policy is now a bit lacking. So this is area that we can, I think, improve. If we want to reach a particular level, like how you, you know, being part and parcel of the soft power diplomacy among the middle income countries. I hope that my answer is quite representative to you. Thank you. Dr.
Okay, thank you very much for all the answers from our speakers that we now come into the end of our discussion. But we have learned many things since session one, and also session one is we focus on the how the Korean wave impact to the economy, and our session second session is about the in terms of politics, about public diplomacy. We learn about from our first hand, Mr. About how the government, the Korean government under President Lee Jae-myung support, very support on the in the development of the K culture, K industry, including K-pop, and how the government support without the interference, without still give the space and opportunities for the creative industries to grow, to develop globally. And Indonesia can learn from that. And we also have an interesting idea from Pak Sandi Uno about our movie ghost culture that we can export globally. Perhaps if it is seriously support by our government, like we need a synergy, like Dr. Erin said about the synergy. I think we can learn from South Korean government about the synergy between all the departments, from the policy of the president down into the all ministries. I think Indonesia still need to learn and make it stronger to use culture as the soft power diplomacy and become the culture power. Like I will not note about the like previous moderator about the K-pop Demon Hunter, but I will go back to the notes from, I was interesting from Mr. About Kim Goo's dream. I think all great ideas coming from the dreams. So great civilizations, great nations, all driven by dreams. So I think South Korean dream from Kim Goo's dreams about the power of high culture. I think Kim Goo's dreams nowadays became a real vision, and under President Lee Jae-myung, the wish, the dreams of Kim Goo's now, it's I think it's coming true. So without wrapping up any messages, so I will say very thankful for the speakers of our session, and thank you for all the audience participants and all speakers that have still stayed here until the last session. So thank you very much, and give us applause to our speakers today. Now I give to MC.
Thank you very much to Dr. Indriana for leading the sessions as a clear and interesting discussion. We also would like to extend our sincere appreciation to our distinguished speakers. Mr. Thank you very much, Kamsahamnida. And Dr. Irin, thank you very much for your valuable insight and perspective in today's discussion. Ladies and gentlemen, that concludes our second roundtable session. On behalf of organized committee, we sincerely thank all distinguished guests, speakers, and all participants for your active participation and valuable contributions to this session. As we have reached the end of the formal programs, we are delighted to invite everyone to continue the conversation and strengthen connection during our luncheons and networking session, which will take place right after this program. Luncheons will take place inside the same venue on the next room, and the lunch is available on the next room right beside the venue. And before we close and move to the luncheons and networking session, allow me to share a short rhyme, or just we call it pantun. I'll try it in English. From Java shore to sail bright sky, friendships cross through trust and art. With open hands and vision high, Indonesia and Korea share one heart. Sarangil. Thank you very much. Kamsahamnida. See you next moment. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.